The home, please.
President Guo and all the colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor that today that I come here to share with you my 30-year career that working on cancer. And I have to say, I came to Hong Kong many times. But this first time I visit this university, I'm very impressed of the university campus. And also, I was mistakenly, because when President Guo joined this university, I thought this is the engineer university. But today, I've been talking to all the biological scientists, and I realized you have a very strong biological science program here too. So I'm very impressed. Yeah. And congratulations! I know that you have continued to expand the biomedical science, and then you're going to continue recruitment. So if anything that I could help on this area, I'll be more than happy to continue to contribute. Because, by the way, when you mentioned I was elected to be the academician in Academia Sinica in Taiwan, I think we are in the same year. Am I correct? Yeah. When President Guo was also elected as an academician in the same year. So in Chinese, back to the old day, 翰林院的时候 we are 同年呐 right? At that time you say 郭同年 红同年 anyway. So the reason I chose the subject as a cancer, where's it now? I didn't put an English name that 癌不再是癌. I remember when I was young, when people talk about cancer, actually people don't talk about cancer. If somebody, your family has one person who has whatever cancer, nobody want to talk about it. You know why? Reason number one, he or she is going to die. Reason number two, what did I do wrong in my last life? Am I correct? Maybe last life I was pirate, or I was robbed a bank or something. That's why I got cancer this life. But things no longer be that way now. We know what caused cancer. Cancer was caused by your normal gene mutated. And so we all know those mechanisms. And so in the past several decades, many people's effort, academic institution, government, industry, hospital, then we have now be able to make a cancer is not a terrible disease. Cancer will be a chronic disease. We will live with cancer. And that's why I chose this as I, red color, 不再是癌, blue color. Okay. So with that in mind, so I would just like to share with you some of the facts. By the way, most of all the data I have is come from US. And I'm sure in Hong Kong, in China, you have similar kind of data. But since US, it's easier for me to have all this database. So if we look at the general cancer statistic for instance of cancer rate, United States has about 300 million population. And prediction, 2015, this year, there will be 1.6 million people who are diagnosed for cancer and new diagnosis, expect to be this year. And almost 600,000 people in the United States are expected to die with cancer. 600,000, well, actually not 600,000, 589. It's very high number. And in terms of everybody die eventually, then in the United States, 1 out of 4 person dead was caused by cancer. And I work a lot on breast cancer, and sometimes we say, when women, I've seen it, even you don't have to count approximately 50-50, right? 50% of women here. 1 out of 8 women in their lifetime will develop breast cancer. So cancer is an issue. And 5-year relative survival rate for all cancer Now, not yet 70%, 68%, but compared to almost 40 years ago, 1975 to 1977, it was only 49%. So, in the past 40 years, the 5-year survival rate of cancer increased almost 20%. Am I correct? Are we going to wait for another 40 years to allow this 70% become 90%? I don't think so. If that's the case, shame on us. And I'm not kidding. That's how I believe. This is expectation rate. Now let's look at overall cancer incidence rate at a different year. From 1975 database till 2011, male, both sex and women, by the way, this is US data. So you can see the incidence rate from 1975 gradually increased, but now it's a plateau now because our recent diagnosis method is reasonably advanced. So I think we can detect all those diagnoses for the cancer now. We have many, many different new methodology, although it continues to be developed. And you may notice, how come there's a peak here in male, both sex? Anybody want to say anything? The mid-1990. Well, how come there's a peak here? Well, is that because of that particular year suddenly a lot of male develop cancer? That's unlikely, right? How many people know PSA? The young generation may not know. All people, everybody know what the PSA, especially male. 1995, PSA was discovered. PSA was used as a serial marker to predict, to detect potential prostate cancer. Therefore, during that period of time, because of PSA, because of that technology development, therefore suddenly many male who had prostate cancer and originally didn't know, now they were detected they actually had a prostate cancer. That's why there's a peak jump up. It doesn't say that in particular year there are more people to get a prostate cancer. It's just because you had prostate cancer you didn't know, and therefore it jumped. And then after that, of course, plateau because of the big diagnosis. Okay, so that makes sense. Now, let's look at several major cancer types. Those major cancer types who cause patient die: colorectal cancer, lung cancer, female breast cancer, and male prostate cancer. This, again, this is prostate cancer, obviously. The peak is come from prostate cancer, that's a male, right? And this is lung cancer, and then here's colon cancer and breast cancer. The incidence rate is kind of plateau now. But I want to emphasize the incidence rate now is kind of plateau, but I want to emphasize the next slide at the mortality rate. That's what we care. You can be diagnosed with cancer, but as long as I can live with it, it's fine with me. Here is the overall cancer mortality rate. Again, all the data is from US, I'm sure. Hong Kong has Hong Kong's database. 75 to 2011. Now, it's probably easier for me to see here. Men, out of the y-axis is out of 100,000 people. Almost 250, 260 die with male with cancer. And then now there's a slope here. The sign was very encouraging, especially for people like me who has been working on cancer, because in the early day that every year when we see this one, it never dropped, but now it continues to drop. It's very encouraging. Both sex, even women, is gradually going down now. Now, let's carefully look at the four major diseases. This one is lung cancer. And lung cancer, why lung cancer? That rate is gradually, originally increased, now it continues to reduce. Anybody want to guess? Smoking. smoking, cigarette cessation, smoking cessation. And we can talk about that later on. So this is because our cancer education tell people don't smoke. Then a peak here. So this is what? Prostate cancer, of course, right? So prostate cancer, because PSA was a diagnosis, though there are more prostate cancer patients, so they die. But now you can see the prostate cancer death rate is from out of 30 patients from 100,000, now go down to almost 20. 30 to 20, my friend, 1/3 down. We're not kidding. This is real data. And breast cancer and colon cancer. And breast cancer and colon cancer, why that happen? Because all the early diagnosis method. Now, virtually every cancer, if you are diagnosed in the early stage, it's a phase 1, piece of cake. What you don't want is when you will diagnose cancer, you are phase 4, test a stage 4, so meaning you have no idea what it is. 大罗神仙也没办法了. Do people understand Mandarin? Or I have to speak Cantonese? The Cantonese I can say not too many. But if I see a lady over there, 你好靚啦. That's all I can say. Anyway, so for prostate cancer, we just mentioned PSA. For breast cancer, I don't know how many people who are women who are older than 40. You had to go to mammogram. And colon cancer, we all had to do, after 50 years old, you had to do what? Colonoscopy. So if you see those polyps, before they become cancer, they are going to become cancer in the future, but you cut it off. So all these early prevention or early diagnosis methodology to allow those cancer types being detected in the early stage, therefore, the death rate continue to drop. And for lung cancer, because education. Okay? So with this data, of course, it's not go down here yet. But as I mentioned, that in the last 40 years, the death rate reduced 20%, but we are not going to wait for another 40 years, reduce 20%. No, I'm going to show you why that is the case.